What is the Buddhist view on intuition and its source? Is it from the conditioned mind, or is it from the heart, a feeling? Some may say from God or external source. Intuition is it's about thinking, right? Intuition. We can say intuition is not without thinking. No, intuition is from thinking, right? From a cognition. And certainly it is not from the heart. Can the heart, the flesh and blood, think? How can the heart think? The heart is the bank for the circulation, for the circuitry, for the blood. The heart is not the brain. How can the heart think? So the heart is certainly not the intuition. That being said, intuition doesn't hurt without a heart. That doesn't work without a heart. If your heart fails, how can there be any intuition? So we always say no and then we say yes, so that we protect it anyway. So it's not from the heart, but its foundations from the heart. But then, what is the Buddhist view on intuition? Is it from the conditioned mind? So intuition is about cognition, right? Intuition. And intuition, I don't know how the dictionary, the Webster's dictionary or Oxford dictionary define intuition. The intuition seems to be from the hidden part of the mind. In your intuition, you think this guy is a good guy. In your intuition, you think this is a bad guy. In your intuition. But then your intuition is some in-depth thinking. All this in-depth thinking is from the mind, right? If it is from the mind, it's already biased. It's already from the seven consciousness, which is the manas, and the mano consciousness, the six consciousness. They are working in there. When the six and seven consciousnesses are working, the intuition is just your own intuition. Everybody will have a different intuition. Their intuition, Mr. A's intuition could be different from Mr. B's intuition, assuming they look at the same object. Remember that poem that we talked about before? When you went in the ancient days, not too ancient, about say 50, 60 years ago, Japan has a rich family. If people come to the family to visit, they would entertain them to tea ceremony. So their guests coming, and at the clapping of hands of the host, just that action of clapping of hands, the koi fish will come in for the feeding, because the host used to be clapping the hands, and then the koi fish would come, and then the host would, the master of the house would just feed the koi fish with food. So at the clap of the hands, all this, the intuition of the koi fish is, my master is coming to feed me. So they're all coming to the pond together and waiting for the food. At the clap of the hands, the birds were frightening. They thought someone is shooting up. So the birds were sort of scattered in every direction. So the intuition of the birds is at the clap of the hands, which is the same object, the same sound, somebody's going to shoot them. That's their intuition. At the clap of the hands, the maids are coming up, serving the tea. They're taking all this tea pots and all this tea leaves and coming out. That's the same clap of the hands. The intuition of the maid serving the servants serving the tea they will be ready for the tea ceremony. So intuition is different from different person. So it is from the mind. It is from the conditioned mind. The maids have been conditioned to serve tea. The birds have been conditioned to get away from the shots. The fish is conditioned to get fed by food. They're conditioned. So you're from a conditioned mind. Your intuition is from a conditioned mind. And that intuition is different for different individuals. Also according to your own karma. When the ghost ram victims see a pond of water, it's not water. It's a pond of, it's a whole pool of blood that they cannot drink. When the devas, when the guardian angels, the ascension beings at the sky, at the heaven levels, when they see here a pond of clear, crystal clear water, it is crystal. When we see water, it's water, a liquid water. So their intuitions are all different. When the fish see water, it's their habitat, it's their palace. They habitate in there. So what do you mean by intuition? Your tainted glass, see it with your own intuition. That is exactly what your consciousness is all about. Your consciousness has been conditioned, which needs to be changed. You need to spiritually transform your polluted, tainted consciousness into all enlightened wisdom. By doing that, you can get out from samsara. The retribution process is certainly not from the heart. Is it from God? You're trying to find a simple answer to a very complicated question. The whole world is created by God. God, I'm created by God. Anything cannot be explained as God. I mean, that's easy. A kindergarten would say, yes, I'm created by God. Don't try to simplify life. There's no such thing as God is again an intuition. The God concept is again an intuition. To you, it is a God. To him, it's a ghost. So it's intuition. So are you adding intuition onto another intuition? Will you wind up with what? Or is it from the external source? Don't blame the object. Don't blame the object. If someone, what is the object? What is the object of the eyes? What you can see. What is the object of the listening skill, the sound? Somebody blame you, that blaming words does not mean anything. But you get infuriated. You want to fight because you were infuriated by the dead, non-lively few words uttered from the mouth. But you attach your intuition to those few words and you get infuriated. You want to fight. You want to get into trouble. So don't blame external source. Don't trust external source. External source is fictitious. It exists, but it's not real. It's unreal. I don't know if you are satisfied with the answer. Next question. Could you please tell us the 10 precepts that follow the 5 precepts? The 5 precepts: abstain from killing, abstaining from lying, abstain from sexual misconduct, abstain from stealing, from killing, and abstain from drinking alcohol or intoxications. So the 5 precepts. The 10 precepts: abstain from flowery language, abstain from tattletale, abstain from lying, abstain from cursing, and so on and so forth. That's easily, you can get that from Google. The 10 precepts, the Buddhist precepts, is easily obtainable from any website about Buddhism. Is there anything like a mother-teenage-daughter situation, conflict, and how to go about it? If it's a family conflict, for example, the conflict between the mother and the daughter, all kinds of conflict, you have to look at the time elements of it. And when you look at the time elements, when you look at the past, that kind of conflict may have been built up since very, very early years. Because nobody forget anything. The mother mistreating her, they always remember what happened in the past. All those bad experiences in the past, the mother or the daughter, they always attach to past happenings. And every day they bring what the past mental afflictions and grievances to the present table and ponder on it. They attach to them. They always attach to the past, think about it, and get angry about it. It's been accumulative. And the problems of family members is sometimes all this conflict is built up not only of this life, it could be of previous life too. Remember, you brought forward from the karmic energy of the previous life, and maybe the daughter is coming back to get even with the mom. Maybe the daughter was the husband of her mother in this life, and the mother in this life was the wife of that husband in previous life, and they were not doing well. They were not treating each other well. Then they're coming to get even, or the daughter is coming back to get a debt, to get a debt paid. So if the mother if the daughter owed the mother a lot of money, maybe the daughter is coming back to repay, or they're coming back to get payment. I mean, it's all unfinished business coming back. So if you want to solve the conflict, I think the most important is toleration and forgiveness. Always forgive. If whatever experiences happened in the past that were not good, miserable, forgive. Always forgive about it. When you forgive, when you open up your mind and forgive about what has been done to you wrongly, then you already have been successfully in tolerating the past experiences. Learn how to forgive. Don't accumulate your hatred. Learn how to forgive. And learn learn to lower your expectation on other people. You expect your mom to be like that, or the mom expects the daughter to be like that. Your expectation is too high on other people and too low on yourself. Give the compassionate forgiveness out, and whatever is given to you, learn how to tolerate it, and learn how to lower your expectation on other people. And always learn how to change yourself first. Don't expect your mom to change first. Mom, you got to be tailored to my requirement. Mom, you have to do this. Mom, you have to do that. Or on the other hand, the mother said, daughter, you have to do this. You have to do that. I mean, learn to change your own attitude first. If you change your own attitude, don't expect other people to change first. You have to be good to me first. Otherwise, I won't be good to you. Don't do that. Change your own attitude, extend your compassionate forgiveness, and learn how to tolerate. And learn not to put bad experiences in the past onto the present table and look at it and ponder on it and think about it. The past is gone. It will not come back again. But why do you have to agonize on past experiences? It's already unreal. Can you bring yesterday back? Yesterday you have been mistreated. You cannot bring the mistreatment back to today. But you brought it back habitually by thinking about it. You're agonizing on it. You are carrying yourself with the suffering. You inflict yourself with the suffering, nobody else. You brought all this agony to yourself. To yourself, not your mom. You have to distance away from that kind of attitude. Don't bring back miserable past experiences and agonize on it right now on the present table. Don't bring that onto your iPad. Like, you always try to bring your past bad memories on your iPad, look at it and think about it and get infuriated by that. That's stupidity. Because what happened has happened. You've been cheated, right? You learned the lesson, but that agony you brought back, and every time you look at it, you cry, you're infuriated. Forgive. So there are three things. Compassionate forgiveness. Lower your expectation. Change yourself first. If you change your own attitude, she will change. All right? How to go about it? I already have told you. Can you do it? Very difficult. Extremely difficult. That's why it's difficult to walk the saintly path. Some people say, I want to become a Buddha. I want to be happy. Then I said, why don't you become a monk? I can't do it. Because I still love my daughter. I still love my wife. I still want to get married. I still want to get a girlfriend. I still want to get a boyfriend. How will I come to become a monk? You have to have that breakthrough in you. It's difficult to have that breakthrough. Maybe 1 in a million. If you can break through that shell, you're free. But you cannot. Because your intuition is all tied up with whatever you think in your 7th consciousness, in your 8th consciousness, in your present 6th consciousness, all in your 5 consciousnesses.
Recently there's been some kind of unrest in another part, in another country.
You mean the conflict between religions? Between race? That's a very complicated question. Sometimes it's not of this present life, it could be of previous lives too. I think what I just said about the conflict between daughter and mother also applicable in here. Learn to forgive. Reduce your expectation and change your own attitude first. If you're nice to others, others will be nice to you. And if you can forgive whatever unfair practices have been imposed onto you, you can tolerate. So it's all the same. Yeah, it's the reason why we are in samsara, because everybody's wisdom level is different. To you, you may have that conceptual understanding that you can be more saintly than the other people. Sometimes it's very difficult. Some people cannot peer through that thick skin of ignorance. They can't get through that. No matter how difficult you try, but maybe one day, we all will be enlightened, but we don't know when. Everybody has different times of enlightenment. But it's good that all those who are sitting here, you already have begun your interest in that pursuit for spiritual transformation. Otherwise, you won't be here. The most important is to open your mind. Try to get more. Try to learn from what you see, what you listen. Just today, I mentioned that one of our Sangha members donated a cake out. It's always good to give. Giving is a very good learning habit. No people would like to give. Who would like to spend $200 to give everybody a piece of a delicious pie? I mean, nobody would. I mean, they would reserve the $200 for their own dinner or for their own meals. But it's always good to learn how to give out. The generosity, the giving, there's a lot to learn in giving. A person who can always give becomes very compassionate. According to sutras that we read, all those who are very rich in this life is because of the generosity in the previous life. They've always been giving. But that's very scientific too, very logical. For those who have been building up relationship among people, say, do you like people who are compassionate and giving? You like people like that. So if there was a guy in previous life that he gave up his whole estate to benefit millions of people, for example. In this life, if you become a businessman, all these will become customers buying his product. Then he'll be richer and richer because he have already built up all this good relationship. But then giving is not because they want to give up good relationship. Always learn to be generous, compassionate, always giving out. Don't always consider how much would I get, how much would I receive. Always learn to be compassionate, giving. That's a lesson to learn. That's a very important lesson to learn. And don't just receive, learn how to give. Give out your compassion. We say, give out your love, give out your consideration. Always consider others.